All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our training here to get everybody ramped up to start taking live transfers. Super excited about this group. We've got tremendous talent in this group, and I do got to say that the first three groups on board is all males. We have no females calling right now. And I told them, I said, you guys are in for a really big surprise once these females we got come on board because they're going to be good. So if you could go ahead and mute yourselves. If you could go ahead and mute yourselves on your Skype with your microphone, that way we don't have any background noise, and then we'll get going here. Now, just a couple administrative notes here. As you guys will see, we've changed up the website. I spent quite a few hours this weekend making some changes that I think will make it easier for you, the agents. First, if you look right here, we've added a quick link to the rate calculator, and that's what you see here. And for those of you, if when you're doing this, if your rate calculator doesn't pop up, that means it's getting blocked up here in your browser. Okay, so you got to click right over in here somewhere. Mine usually gets blocked, but you click up here, there'll be like a red line around it. You'll just click there and it'll ask you, do you want to load unsafe scripts? Press yes, and then it'll load the rate calculator for you. So we've got the quick rates right here, and then you've got the rate calculator for each company right here. Made it real quick for you so you can get right to them. Boom. Okay. And then just press your back button. The agent dashboard, it's going to ask you now to go ahead and sign in. You only got to do this once. Okay, so that's how you get to the agent dashboard. Now, we moved all of the scripts and the training videos over to one university. I'll show you that in a second. But I wanted to clean this page up a little bit. We got rid of all of we made this smaller, made this smaller. Here's your links to the rate calculators now, nice and clean. So there's your link to the rate calculator. Here's your links to the actual carriers. Here's where you report your sale. There's One Legacy enrollment. And then obviously these tabs here will take you to the bottom. So let's say you want to work with Royal Neighbors. Just click there. Boom, it'll take you all the way down to Royal. Okay. Now we are adding Phoenix. They're a really good company to use for people under 50. So if you haven't added them, go to Assurance Bay and add them. You're also going to want to add Royal Neighbors if you haven't. We just realized this weekend that Royal Neighbors covers not only diabetes, but they cover insulin and they cover neuropathy. And it's all level. Okay, we've been sending all this insulin and neuropathy basically we've been sending insulin to America, and then we've been sending neuropathy to AIG. And AIG is guaranteed issue, so you lose half your commissions. And it's paid as earned right now. I'm trying to get it moved over to where they'll advance to 6 months, but we'll see on that. So now if you have neuropathy, you want to send them to Royal Neighbors. If you don't have Royal Neighbors, you need to go to Assurance Bay and apply for that ASAP. Okay? So go back to the top here. And the reason we took the password off here is because when you're using that rate calculator, if you press the back button, you always got to input the password. And so that was kind of a headache. So we moved everything over, all the videos, all the training, all the scripts over to One United University where it belongs. That way we don't have to worry about. Now, a quick reminder on this rate calculator. Whenever you're inputting the rates, we use Ohio here, but let's say you've got somebody under 50 years old. So we'll go with 74. Male, no. And if you put in 10,000 there and you keep it at level, if you go to quick get quotes, you're not going to find anybody. Okay? what you want to do there is first increase the amount and see if that'll help. Still don't get anybody. So what you gotta do is go to level and go to traditional SIWL, and you want to increase that to at least 25,000, and you're gonna get some carriers. Okay. So remember that the reason they do that is because traditional SIWL, those are going to be like your better policies. They've got to be in really good health. And if they put those under level, then these are always going to come up first. And the agents are going to quote these. They're going to quote these first, even though the customer may not qualify for it, and it's going to mess things up. That's why they did it that way when they built the rate calculator. So always remember to check traditional SIWL if it's, I would check it for all of them really, just to see what pulls up. So there's a 43-year-old male, 25,000. It's always going to come down to Royal Neighbors and Foresters pretty much, and they're going to be within the same. Now, for some of you, you need to know this. I would just go ahead and write it with Foresters because, as you can see, today's the 7th. Okay, and most of our customers get paid on the 1st or the 3rd, which means the policies are going to come out on the 5th. And if you post date it between now and the 3rd, you're not going to get paid on it traditionally until the 5th of the month. However, with Foresters, if you write that policy today and you post date it clear out here to the 5th, you're still going to get paid on it either on the 9th or the 10th. They're going to advance you on that. Okay, it's called quick pay. So if you're looking to get paid really quick and you've got post dated business, I'm going to send everything I have to Foresters, especially if it's only a couple dollars difference. Okay. Now, if you guys have got questions at any time, then just go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask the questions.
Hey, Scott, can you hear me?
Sure.
This is Brian.
Yep.
I was looking at the dashboard, and I noticed that some of the videos are different from, like the contracting. Like I'll see certain carriers we need to get contracted with, but then when I look at the video, I know some of the things are out of date, but we have like Sentinel, Security Life, and SBLI. Are these companies we're still trying to get appointed with or not? Just stick to what's in the contracting site.
Yeah, I think a couple of you have been getting contracted and said that there's only a couple companies in there. And if that's the case today, let me know. But I'll just show you the companies that we're primarily looking for is definitely Foresters, Americo, and Royal Neighbors. You definitely want to have those three. And Sentinel and Prosperity, we're not too worried about. I haven't wrote. I don't know that we've wrote. I think we've wrote one policy between both of those carriers. AIG, you want to have them for guaranteed issue. They kill Gerber with their rates. That's why we don't even have Gerber up here anymore. And then Phoenix is nice to have, but you don't really need it because you can still write under 50 with Royal. So those are our main carriers. Now Prosperity doesn't use Insurance Bay anymore for contracting. So if you want to get contracted with Prosperity, you actually have to go to their website, and there's this whole long thing you got to do. So we're not even pushing them anymore. Like I said, if you've got these three right here, or at least two of those three, you're going to be fine. Everybody needs to have Royal just for the diabetes thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I have a question. It's Kathleen.
Okay.
For Royal Neighbors, I know they're great for diabetes and neuropathy. Does it matter how many units of insulin, or does it take all?
Takes all.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's our lifesaver. I don't know why I didn't catch that, but yeah, I was talking to a guy in my buddy. He knows all the carriers really well, and he's like, dude, you're an idiot. Why are you sending your diabetes to AIG? I'm like, well, who else am I going to send them to? He's like, Royal Neighbors. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, Royal Neighbors is our catch-all for everyone.
Hey Scott, this is Rob. For whatever reason, I can't log back into the site. It doesn't. I tried to reset my password. It doesn't recognize my email.
Did you go to already a user?
Yeah,
Then
I did.
just
I
create
did
a
the login.
just create a new one then. Just
Okay.
use a different email address,
Okay.
and you should get in.
Actually, I have an option for him. It's Kathleen. The same thing happened to me. Make sure any of his other windows are not open. He may have opened two windows that have to do with your site. Get rid of the first one and he should be able to get in.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. That's what's making it really fun. I'm going to show you guys over here. If you look at our group over here, you guys will all get moved to this group once we get you signed on. But we're having so much fun with this group. I mean, we have a blast. We're joking in here. If there's any questions, people ask, and it's like whenever we get a sale, we post it on here. Everybody posts good morning, da 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 dum. But if you guys have got any questions once you guys get going, that's why we use this Skype here. You can just simply put your message in here. Hey, I've got somebody with COPD, oxygen. What company should I go with? Someone will get back with you within probably 10 seconds. So, and then you got to be on here for the live transfers because Jawad, he runs them and he's always posting stuff on here as far as issues with phones or anything like that. So, but it's really really cool how everybody's kind of become like a family on here and everybody's rooting for each other. So I'm looking forward to you guys getting over there and being part of that. So, all right, let's move forward. Now, most of you, well, all of you, probably should have gone to our One United University to get trained. The password there is still One United Training. I think this is Shelly or Diane standing on that cliff. I'm not sure which one. That was a joke. Somebody should be laughing right now, but anyway, keep moving.
You put us on mute. Maybe we were laughing with.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, I was laughing.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Uh-huh.
If I tried to make that pose, I would have fallen off. I would have tumbled off of that cliff and fallen into the water. I'm not very flexible.
Some girl really did fall off that cliff, by the way, like last year.
Somebody did?
Yeah, she was
Oh,
trying to
good
take
Lord.
she was taking a selfie, and she fell off last year.
Did she
Crazy.
live?
I don't think so. No.
Wow.
Where's that cliff at?
Let's do a great selfie though.
I can't remember, but it's called the Devil's Tongue.
Oh,
I know that.
yeah, I can see why.
Right.
Man, just hearing you guys talk, you guys are going to be so good. That's why I'm really excited. You guys got really good phone voices. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to definitely always come back here to the script, and this is where we're going to add our live sales. And so if you scroll down here, I've added some live calls for you. This one here is the newest one. Okay, now notice, we want you guys to train on the original script because there's going to be a lot of things in there that you guys are going to need to kind of. But when you're on the live transfers, you're not gonna do everything we teach you up here. So this is just to give you more of like the whole picture of everything that we're doing, and there's going to be things you'll need. But then we're going to kind of cut through it. That way you guys, the whole reason for that is our average talk time on these calls were going like 45 minutes, and we weren't getting any sales our first week. So we're like, well, we've got to figure out that we're talking to the people who want to actually buy insurance quicker. That way we can get more sales. So we just kind of cut through things with the script, and we made making a friend shorter, and now our average talk time is about 13 minutes. So we're spending about 13 minutes on the phone to figure out if somebody's really interested or not. And our sales, we had a really good week last week. every week our sales got better, but last week, I mean, I think we had 7 on Monday, 4 on Tuesday. We tried some new data on Wednesday that kind of slowed the calls down, but we still got like 3 sales. And remember, we've only got 6 or 7 full-time people on those groups right now. We had a lot of people from group 3 who are actually starting this week. So, and then Thursday and Friday we had like 5 to 7 sales every single day. So we were really, really happy with those results. So we're really happy with the script. But if you don't have it, here's the new script. Click right there, download it, open it. Okay, so when the calls transfer to you guys, what's gonna happen is your phone's gonna ring and you're gonna hear somebody on the other end. When they ring into you, you have to answer the phone. Hey, this is Shelly. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? You have to identify yourself. That way, the fronters know who's taking the call because they're just transferring it to a line, and then you're picking it up. So they have to know that it's you picking that up, so they can give you credit for it. So as soon as that line rings, you answer it. Hey, good morning. This is Shelly. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Okay. And then the fronter's going to say, good morning, Miss Shelley. I have Scott Gifford on the phone from the great state of Ohio, and you guys may take over the line now. God bless. Something like that. Once they do that, then you may say, hey, good morning. This is Miss Shelley. How are you today? Great. Now, before we get into the plans, Miss Shelley or Mr. Scott, I want to go over who I am, what I do, and the plans that you qualify for, and then you can tell me what to do next, okay? And then you're into the call. Now, what we added here from the long script, we put this right at the front because this is, it's almost a soft close immediately. Great. And are you looking for coverage for yourself or for a loved one? And then whatever answer they give you, well, I'm just looking for myself. Fantastic. If they say, well, I'm not really interested in nothing. I thought this was about, tooth insurance or dental insurance or whatever. Oh no, this is final expense insurance. We can get you a plan anywhere between $10,000 to $30,000. Now, are you interested in coverage for you or yourself? No, I'm not interested. Okay, have a great day. Get off the phone. If they're not interested at the beginning, we want to get you off the phone. We want to get you on good calls as quickly as possible. Don't worry about hanging up on people. In fact, we don't even charge that call to you unless it goes over 2 minutes. Okay? So once you do that again, well, my name is Scott. I'm a licensed field underwriter for the state of Ohio. And what that means is that I'm the decision maker who will determine which plans that you qualify for and help you get the protection that you need to protect you and your family. Notice there's my voice, goes up, it goes down, there's inflection there. It doesn't just sound like I'm reading. Okay, have some enthusiasm as well. We've got some guys on this first and second group. They sound like they're dead, and I literally type them during the call. I'm like, look, you sound dead right now. You got to chirp up. And then when they realize I'm on the phone, all of a sudden they start chirping up a little bit. Be excited. Be excited. These people are lower middle class, if that. They really don't have a whole lot to look forward to, and if you're excited about this, they're going to want to know what you're so excited about. They're going to be drawn into it, and that's really our good guys that are doing really well on this. They're excited. They're speaking really clear. They're saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. They're using the Mr. Scott. Ms. Sherry, they're using all of that, and it's working really good for them. Okay, but have fun at the beginning here. Don't just be like, hey, how are you today? Oh, that's good. Well, before we get started here, let me tell you, I'm a licensed field underwriter, and what that means is I'm the decision maker who's going to determine which plans you qualify for and help you get the protection that you need to protect you and your family. Okay, no. This is how it is. Sit up straight, breathe. Now, these policies are small, affordable policies that are meant to help people who live on a fixed income, such as Social Security, disability, or even disabled veterans. Now, if once you say that, or any time during the presentation, if they say, "Oh, I'm on disability," that's your cue that they're giving you permission to ask what kind of disability they're on. Does it go to their checking or savings account? And what day of the month does it hit? Okay? And if you get that up front, it's going to kind of calm you down because you're not going to have to wait clear to the end to find out if you're getting paid. But it'll help your close. I've gotten really, really good at this over the last 10 years, obviously. As soon as anybody says, "Oh, yeah, I'm on a fixed income too. I got to watch my money." Oh, absolutely. Most customers I talk to are on some type of disability. Now, does yours typically hit on the first or the third of the month? Because probably 80% of the people out there, it hits on the first or the third. No, mine hits on the second Wednesday of each month. Oh, great. Now, does yours go straight to your checking or your savings account? Oh, mine goes to my checking account. Now, notice we use assumptive sailing here, okay? And I know you guys have heard that in the video. We don't ask, "Oh, so do you have a checking account?" Or, "Oh, Miss Carol, do you have a savings account?" No, we assume they have it, okay? A lot of times if you don't use assumptive sailing, if you ask them an open-ended question, you're going to get an answer you don't want. "Oh, so do you have a checking account?" Well, in their mind, they're like, "Well, if I say no, then I can get off the phone right now. So, no, I don't have a checking account." Now what? Now what are you going to say? Okay? So, use assumptive sailing. "Oh, great. Now, does yours typically hit on the first or the third?" Well, mine hits on the third of each month. Great. "And does yours go straight to your checking or your savings account?" "Oh, mine goes to my checking account. I don't have a savings account." Okay. So I just wrote down on my little dry erase board. That's what I do. I've got let's see here, probably like a 12 by 16 dry erase board, and it's double-sided tape to my desk. And every call I get on, whether I'm recruiting and I'm talking to an agent like I have with all of you guys, I take my notes on that dry erase board while I'm talking. And then let's say I'm talking to an agent, or, well, no, let's just say I'm talking to a customer and I make the sale. At the end of it, I'll just take a picture of my dry erase board. It'll be on my phone, and then I erase my dry erase board and I'm done. And I've got their information on my phone if I ever need it. Same way, if I don't make the sale and I've got a callback, I'll take a picture of it. I'll schedule a callback on my calendar on my phone, and then the comments I'll put "see picture," which means see my phone for all their information. That's why I love the dry erase board. Just take a picture of it, move on. But the point there is that you guys are writing this information down. Just so Diane and whoever else ordered a landing page, that pop-up right there, that's what that looks like. So we just had somebody look at a landing page. I love getting those. Anyway, my ADD just kicked in there. So use a dry erase board. When they give you this information, write it down. That way you don't forget it at the end of the call. Okay? Now, before we get started, Miss Carol, I want you to write down my information. I'm going to give you my license number for whatever state they're in, so for Ohio, as well as my phone number. That way you'll feel comfortable with me in the process, and at any time if you feel the need to contact the State Department, you'll have the information to do so. So just let me know when you have a piece of pen and paper ready. Now, did I throw this in at the very beginning of that paragraph? Did I put it up here? Now, Miss Carol, I'm going to give you some information to write down, so can you grab a pen and paper for me? Did I ask it open-ended? No. I mean, that's what kind of frustrates me sometimes. People, they'll put this up here at the beginning of it, and because they didn't explain it first, the customer doesn't even really understand why they need it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't really feel like getting up and getting a pen and paper," or "I don't have a pen and paper near me. I'd have to go out to my car," or whatever. First, if they're not willing to get a pen and paper, just go ahead and end the call. I mean, we had a lady that was in bed. She just woke up from a nap, and she said, I'm tired. I just got done with a nap. She goes, I really don't feel like getting a pen and paper. And the agent was still trying to sell her, and I got on there. I can barge in your guys' calls. I can whisper. So just so you know, if I whisper, and I'll text you on Skype. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to whisper. That means I can talk and you can hear me, but your customer can't hear me. If I barge in, then I'll tell you, hey, I'm barging in. That means I'm taking the call over. Just sit back and listen and enjoy. But I whispered to the agent, I'm like, look, just get, if she's not willing to get up off her butt and get a pen and paper and get off the call, you're just wasting your time. If she can't get up and get a pen and paper, how's she going to get up and get her purse and get her checkbook? Okay? Or just schedule a time back with that person. Say, hey, I know you just woke up. When would be a better time for me to call you back? That would be the better way to do that. Okay? Don't force this on people. We've got plenty of calls coming in. We want to be talking to people that are interested in buying insurance. Okay? So let me know when you have a piece of paper and a pen ready. Okay. My name is Scott, Scott, Gifford, Gifford. My ID for the state of Ohio is 1234567. My phone number is da-da-dum. Did you get that? Great. Now, here's where we've cut it short a little bit. You're only going to ask a couple of questions here. Instead of that whole 15 or 20 minutes on making a friend, we're only going to spend a few minutes here. We want to find out if they're married, widowed, divorced, or single, mainly because I want to know if they're married. That throws a huge loop in this because they're probably going to want to talk to their wife, okay, or their husband. So, are you married, widowed, divorced, or single? If they say, well, I'm divorced. Oh, okay. How long have you been divorced? How long were you married? Do you have any children from there? Dig a little bit. Oh, that's great. Next thing you're going to do is say, have you ever experienced the loss of a loved one or had to make those funeral arrangements? And then dig from that. I'm sorry, was it somebody close? How long ago was it? Da-da-da-da-da. Okay? Now, do you know what the average cost of a funeral is today? And just so you guys know, the average costs are right around $8,000 to $10,000. If they say, yeah, my mom's is right around $12,000, say, yep, that's exactly what they are. They're right around $12,000. If you've got a story, you want to try to tell a story here and kind of paint a picture of what it's like, especially if they have never had to experience it. So I always tell my story about, I've got two stories. I've got one where one of my grandparents didn't have insurance. I've got one where they did have insurance. Well, they're both good stories to tell because if they didn't have insurance, you can tell the story of how hard that was on your family, and if they did have insurance, you can say how helpful it was on your family. But you want to draw them in a little bit. You want to paint the picture in really good detail of what it was like to go down to the funeral home. The funeral home, the director opening the door, walking in, very quiet, very solemn. Everything, was in a big room as far as the casket, the vault, the tombstone, tons of decisions needing made, blah, 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 blah. And take them back to that time and let them know what your story was. Okay? Now, if they're talking at any point here, let's say you're up here and you start talking about their kids, if they're married or widowed, and they start talking about their job, or maybe they're talking about their hobbies, and they're talking. Well, good Lord, keep them talking. Okay? That means you've got somebody that's going to be a good conversation. If they want to spend more time there, spend as much time as they want. Okay, that'll probably turn into a good sale for you. But if they're content with just answering those couple questions and moving on, then move on. Okay. Now, once you're done painting your story with them, then basically get back to the script. Now, Ms. Carol, all final expense plans are based off of your age and your health. And the reason is because you should not have to pay the same premium as somebody who might be older than you, or maybe they're not in as good of health as you are. And that's why we ask you some basic questions, just so that we can get you the lowest rate that you qualify for. Now, Miss Carol, what is your date of birth? And how old does that make you as of today? Okay, slow down a little bit. Really focus on your punctuation and being crisp and clear here. Now, Miss Carol, what's your approximate height? And what would your weight be without clothes on? Now, do you have any major health issues at this time, such as heart, lung, liver, kidney, brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, COPD, anything like that? Now, for some of you guys who are brand new to this, though, what we mean by major health issues for like your heart, that would be like a heart attack or on blood thinners. For your lungs, that would be like COPD or lung cancer. For your liver or kidneys, that's going to be like dialysis or liver cancer, liver disease. Brain is obviously like schizophrenia, bipolar, Alzheimer's disease or dementia, anything where they're forgetting. And then COPD, that's mainly due to people that have been smoking. And we do have some companies out there that'll cover the COPD as long as they're not on oxygen. But the kicker with COPD is the next question you ask is, are you on oxygen? If they're on oxygen, then they're guaranteed issue. Okay? But we're not worried about blood pressure. We're not worried about cholesterol. We're not even worried about diabetes if it's controlled. Okay, that's the key there. If you read the health questions for the company, it's basically says any issues with diabetes or any uncontrolled issues with diabetes. And what they mean by that is like dialysis, loss of fingers, blindness, kidney disorder, things of that nature. Okay? Now, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time here, especially when you get to the medications. We don't want to sit here for 15 minutes and go through each medication. The way that we used to do it when I'd go to a house, or even on the phones, geez, you'd get people with a list of medications with 20 of them, and my goodness, when you're talking to an older person who can barely read, you can spend a good 45 minutes going through their medications, literally spelling them letter by letter by letter, and we don't want that right now. Okay, we want to make sure that this person's buying before we start breaking down our.
That you come on here and be listening.
Yeah, if you whoever just came on, if you
That
can mute
come on here
yourself.
and be listening.
Whoever just came on, mute yourself. We can hear you. Thank you. Um, so we don't want to get real technical right here. Okay, we just want to learn the basics, and we can still hear you. Whoever came on, mute yourself. Next question. When was the last time you had to spend the night at the hospital? Now, if they say, oh gosh, it was like 10 or 15 years ago, oh, that's fine. We're only really looking for the last year. Okay? So you might even want to change that. Have you had to spend the night at the hospital in the last year? That's what I would say. Nope, I haven't been in the hospital for like the last 10 years. Good, no problem. Now, do you use any form of tobacco? If so, what kind and how long? Okay? Write that down. What kind of medications are you currently using? What we mean there is, what are they for? Like, are they for blood pressure, gout? Are you taking metformin for diabetes? Are you taking things for blood pressure, cholesterol, anxiety? We don't really care what the names are, but we want to know what they're for. Are you taking any blood thinners for like a stroke? Now, speaking of stroke, there's two different kinds of stroke. There's like a major stroke and a minor stroke. And the minor is called a TIA. Okay? And if they've had a minor stroke within the last year, you can still cover them level with Royal Neighbors. That's important to know. Okay? So we're writing all this stuff down. And then right here it says, now go back and use those medications or those issues with them to create urgency. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go back to the top, and if they have any weight issues, like let's say that we're talking to a gentleman that's 6 foot and he's 350 pounds. I'm going to start there and say, look, Mr. Scott, as you know, your weight's a little on the high side. It's okay right now. You're 350, but just so you know, if that weight gets past 360, then the insurance company looks really, really hard at that, and it could hurt your chances. So make sure we keep that under control. Now, you also said that you've got some blood pressure issues, and I'm going to go through every one of them one by one. I'm not going to do here at this training. I'm only going to do a couple of them. But let's say they have blood. Let's write this down. They've got weight, they've got blood pressure, they've got diabetes, and they smoke. Those are the issues that we came up with. Okay, so we covered the weight. I'm going to go to blood pressure. I'm going to say, now, are you still taking those blood pressure medications? Yes. And this is where learning that longer presentation is going to help, because we teach you to dig a little bit. And what dig means is ask 3 questions on top of the original question. So you have, how long have you been taking the blood pressure medications? I've been taking them for 5 years. Oh wow, that's a long time. Now, does your family have any history of heart disease or anything like that? No? Okay, good. Now, what was your highest reading that you remember with your blood pressure? 170 over 120? Okay, yeah, that's pretty high. Now, what was it the last time you were in? Do you have any idea? Okay, so it has come down. Now, when you're out exercising, or maybe you get stressed a little bit, do you feel your heart start to race? Do you feel a little bit lightheaded at any times? Occasionally? Okay. See, so you're going to ask questions there. And it doesn't really matter what they say. You're just starting to get them thinking. Okay. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't even really think about that. Yeah. My grandma did. Shoot, both of my grandfathers did die of a heart attack. So yeah, I guess it does run in the family. Okay. Well, just so you know that now that we know that it runs in your family, that actually does become part of your health history, because it could be genetic. So. But it looks like your blood pressure is under control, so for now you're good. Okay. Now with your diabetes, you're taking metformin, but you're not taking any insulin right now. Good. Okay. And you're obviously not having any problems with your kidneys, or you're not on dialysis or anything like that. Good. Now, do you have any history of anybody in your family having diabetes? Your uncle did. Okay. Oh, he actually passed away when he was 50? Okay. Well, then you obviously understand the impact that diabetes has if you don't keep it under control. Now, are you watching your food intake? Are you testing your blood sugar daily? No, I'm not really good about doing that. Neither am I, okay? So you guys get the idea there. Just dig a little bit. Now, the last one he said was smoking. And I always say, now, do you smoke more than a pack and a half or 2 packs a day? And they always say no, nobody smokes 2 packs a day, rarely anymore. And say, well, good, because if it was more than 2 packs, it'd be really hard to get you covered. So that's good that you don't. Now, are you experiencing any type of a cough or smoke yet, or any issues breathing, especially while you're working out or going up and down steps? Oh, you do? Okay. Okay. And how long have you been smoking? Since you were 15? Wow, that's a long time. Now, did your family smoke? How did you become a smoker? Your mom and dad did. Okay, so you were around it then your whole life as well. So you've been around it, and then you've obviously been smoking for 15 years. So we definitely want to keep that under watch. Okay. Another landing page filled out. So that's how we use it against them. We're going to go back to whatever they told us here, and then we're going to use that information against them. Okay. Now we're going to figure out which carrier to use. Now, Ms. Carroll, some companies require different things in order to get their lowest prices. Now, do you have an email account that you use, and are you comfortable using a computer? We want this mainly for now, because pretty much everybody we use does it over the phone. We want this now for our follow-up and for our nurture campaigns, for our CRM. So if you can get it, great. If not, just move on and don't make a big deal about it. But try to get their email. Now, do you know of anybody that can help you? This actually worked for one of our agents last week. Her daughter was able to help her, and what company did we send them with? We sent them to AIG, and we don't have the voice signature for AIG yet. We're working on that, and we had to send them an email, and we sent it to their daughter. So that question helped out there. And I hope you guys are seeing this. I don't have Mr. or Ms. in every single line. Like I say in the recording on the script, if I did that, the script would be 100 pages. But I use it just about every time I say something. Now, Miss Carol, do you have anyone that you know could help you with the computer? Okay. Well, Miss Carol, some companies offer a discount if you have a checking or a savings account. Do you have one or both? Now, just so we know here, with the Debit Express card, if you go back, you don't have to go. You don't have to go AIG with the Debit Express card. Oops. Oh yeah, there it is. I thought it was the red one. There we go. So Prosperity. If you have Prosperity, they accept credit cards and Debit Express. Now it's paid as earned, but the good thing about it is they don't reduce the commission to guaranteed issue. So if you've got somebody that's using the Debit Express, that's when you'd want to use Prosperity. And honestly, that's probably the only reason we have them on here. So I guess it is good to get appointed with Prosperity. Now remember, it's paid as earned though, okay? And that's okay because typically credit card and debit card, the persistency on those are really low. For some reason, they just don't stay on the books very well. So it saves you from getting a bunch of chargebacks. So that's a really good reason there. Okay? So hopefully they have a checking or a savings account. And then anything in red here, those are just notes for you. Okay? Now, you're going to put them on a brief hold and put them on hold. Let them hear that music. It'll sound more official, more company-like. And we're only given 3 options now. We're not given 4. It's too many for them. It's confusing them. So just give them 3 options. You want to keep the first one right around $35 to $45. You want to keep this one, I'd say 50 to 65 is fine, and then the third one probably like $75 to $99. Don't go over 100. The reason why you don't go under 35 is because anything under $35, the persistency falls off really. They fall off really fast, and anything over 100 falls off really fast as well. The reason why they fall off if they're too little is because they really can't afford anything. You should write them up. The reason they fall off over 100 is because a lot of people can't afford over 100. They think it sounds good, but really they really can't afford it. And when they can't pay their bills, they look at their statement and they see something for like $120 and they're like, oh, $120, that's my insurance. Well, I'll just get rid of that. That's the first thing they get rid of. So keep it under $100 so it blends in with the rest of their bills. That's why we do that. Okay. Now, so when you come back, you act like you've been putting their information into the computer. So while I'm waiting to see if they approve you, let me go over the benefits of the plan that you're going to qualify for, as well as the company that we've identified. You're going to go over the company that you selected with them. So if you chose Foresters, then you're going to be like, hey, Foresters is the largest final expense company in the world. They've been around for over 120 years. They service well over, $3 billion worth of policies. They do a lot for our communities. They've got excellent customer service. So when you call in, you can actually talk to a live person immediately. And their plans and policies are the best available. That's why we chose them for you. Now, the benefits of the policy, you'll boom, 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 boom. You'll go through each one of those. I'm not going to go through each one of them. And then here's where we've noticed where people are really, they're either getting it or they're not. And when I get on the calls, I kind of wait until a certain minute mark, and then I jump on there just to listen. And it seems like everybody was having the same problems their first week. And so we're going to spend some time on here. Before we go further, does anybody have any questions so far? You guys are awesome.
Anybody?
Who's that with
Scott?
Who's that with a cigarette? Oh, we couldn't. You're muted.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long have you been smoking, sir? Oh, you're muted. I could read your lips. You said since you were 16, but it's all right.
Yeah, we can't hear you. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
It's okay. He's muted. Now you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, and who's that just said, can we hear you?
Yeah, that's me. That's Scott.
Well, who's the guy with the cigarette?
I don't know who that is. I can't hear him.
Oh, I thought that was you, Scott.
No.
Why am I like looking at him the whole
I don't
time?
know. I don't know why it's showing him.
That's what I thought too.
Me too. I said, look
Oh
at
my
Scott
God.
smoking a cigarette.
No, that's you guys think I'm smoking a cigarette while giving this presentation.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, he has his.
I'm glad you asked that. That's
I
kind
know.
of clear a lot of times.
He has his webcam on. We're looking right at him. I thought that was you, Scott, the whole time smoking that cigarette.
I don't even know.
Scott must be happy that he asked this question.
Yeah, no,
I'm serious.
That's not me. Now,
Dog, Scott, I thought that was you.
now, why is it showing him on the? Like I'm clicking at. Oh, there we go. There's somebody.
That's me. That's Brian.
That's Brian. Oh, so let me. Well, this guy's a screen hog. He likes taking all this. I don't know. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, somebody.
Oh, so
Rob.
Rob says that the one guy is sharing his video. So
Yeah, I think I'll need some help showing the video. Yeah. Denise.
all right.
Diane.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
you can turn your video off. The
I
gentleman
think
who
this kind of says James Gary Dean probably.
click right there. There we go. All right. So anyway, can you guys see my screen now, right?
Oh, we can see your screen fine, but we were looking at him too as you were speaking
Yeah.
most of the time. So
No.
I assumed it was you.
No.
Okay, now we're good.
All right.
Okay.
You guys
Okay,
think
yeah,
you guys are thinking I'm puffing on a cigarette while I'm training y'all. That's
yeah. We're really. I'm like this guy.
awesome. This guy's. You guys are like, man, this guy's something.
He is. Man.
This guy's so relaxed. He's smoking a cigarette.
He's one cool guy, man. I thought you were 007.
No.
Secret
All right.
agent. Okay.
So
No.
who's got some questions so far?
All right, so I have a question. This is Brian.
All right.
So, you said, we're not so worried about controlled diabetes, hypertension, some of the small things. Did you say we're not too concerned about someone with COPD who's not on oxygen? Is that what you said?
Yeah, there's a company out there who will handle COPD. Hey, Zoltan, do you know which one it is? I think you said you were the one that. Let's see.
I'd have to look. I'm not sure if it's one of our carriers. I'll be honest with you. I'd have to look on my sheet. It's a pretty tough thing to insure. I mean, there's a few out there that'll give you standard rates for it, like Transamerica, but we don't deal with them. So I'm working on that cheat sheet for you, all right?
Yeah.
No, thanks.
So Zoltan's going to get a cheat sheet. Oh, there it is. Oh, so this is who I was thinking of. So COPD, you can write it with Americo, but it's still going to be a guaranteed issue. Oh,
Okay.
Luke, hold on here. Luke just came in. You got a sale? Nice. Attaboy. Who? Andrew got one too, so we got 2 sales already. That's awesome. So this is what we do, folks. We go over here and we celebrate a little bit. Oh, okay, so see that? They're already saying it. Boom, I got a 55.90. It's super fun in this forum, so
Are you gonna post that cheat sheet in the back, or you just email it to us? How you want to get that out?
We'll put that cheat sheet right here. I'll put a link to it. Once we get it, I'll have a nice big cheat sheet. And actually, what I want to do is I'm going to make more tabs like this. So if it says like insulin or COPD or oxygen,
Yeah,
you'll just click
yeah,
on it and it'll take you right to the carrier. That's what I'm going to do. I like everything nice and clean, nice and simple.
yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
Scott, I have a question. I noticed that when we're talking about our name
Yeah.
and our ID number, obviously we're not insured in every state. So would that, if we're in the state, let's say I'm in Florida, I use my Florida number. But if I'm in a non-residential state, would that be your NPN number?
Well, you're only going to get calls from the states that you've got a resident license in.
Okay, so
You'll use
forgive me for asking this, but I'm licensed in Florida, but I have 22 licenses.
Yeah, so you'll use your.
Does that make
Well, so let's say you're calling one of your other licenses. Let's say it's Indiana. You'll use
Right.
your license for Indiana for that call,
Okay,
and you'll only get calls in the states that you're licensed in and that we know of. So
okay,
and right now we've got you in groups. We've got you in those two groups right here. So right now you only need 3 in each group, and then obviously by the 1st of September they're going to add either Louisiana to Group A or Missouri to Group B. So that's the only states you need right now for those. Which is good
Okay.
because, that way later down the road you don't have to renew all those 20 licenses. That gets expensive.
So you recommend we don't? So right now, like I have Group A covered,
Yep.
but I'm missing one of Group B. So are you saying just stay in Group A? That's all I need
Yeah.
for now, or should I go? Okay.
Yeah, once you're in a group, you're only going to add the groups that you're licensed in those states. Unless you're a power player and you want to get like major calls,
Oh, I see.
then you could get like all of the states in Group B, and then you could be assigned to Group A and Group B.
Gotcha.
And
Oh,
and you can do that, but you've got to have all the states and so let's say if you choose Group A, you've got to have all of the states before they assign you to it, because what happens is right now when we first started they had to literally look at who was licensed in a state. Well, now they can set up a number for Group A and they can transfer any calls they get from the fronters from any of these states because they're assigned to Group A. So they dial that one number and then it goes to whatever agent's available automatically. And that's what you guys want too, because that means we can't kind of like cherry pick leads and give them to people. I always hated that when I worked for companies. They'd say, well, this agent writes $50,000 a month, but they didn't tell you that they were spoon feeding them all the laydowns. Okay.
that's right.
Well,
That's right.
here we don't do that. I don't play that game. Everybody's going to have a fair shot. When the leads come in, we're going to send them to a group. Look at that. That's our 3rd landing page filled out since we started this call. That's awesome. But yeah, so, and I'm sure we'll add more states to the groups, or we'll add a different group. We might add like a Group C. Once we get more agents on, we'll add a Group C, and they'll have to get the states in Group C. So, any other
And
questions?
not to get too far, of course, but do we give you which number we want you to call? Have those folks call on, and our call times when we're receiving calls, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
So what'll happen is, Jawad. Let's see here. Wow, that's awesome. There's I don't even know how this is doing it. So if you see here like Zayshawn and Jawad, Jawad runs the campaign, and then Zayshawn oversees it. So once I turn you guys over to them, all of your questions with the dialer, calls, they all go to them. Don't even come to me for it. I'm too busy for all that. But you guys will add them to your Skype. And if you look at the list, they're already there. So when you go up here to this list, there's Zayshawn, so add him. And then there's Jawad, so add him to your contacts. And say, hey, I'm in Group 4, I'm ready to get set up. And then what they'll do is later today they're going to start getting you guys set up as a group collectively, and get all of you set up, and you'll give them the times that you're going to be available. Now we want you available full time. Now there's a case by case there. We've got a couple people that there's some exceptions, but for the most part, we want you full time, and put down your hours. You're gonna put them down the week before. So on Thursday, you're gonna get an email where they're gonna ask you to input your times for next week, and you'll put down your schedule. Now we're not gonna be like North Star and hold you to the TL. You weren't on the phones right at 9:30. You're fired, or you took off 10 minutes early. We're not like that. We want to be flexible. We understand that this is 1099. We understand that you're self-employed. We get it. Okay. The only reason that we want to know your hours is because we have fronters that we're paying by the hour, and the formula for that is for every agent you want to have 1.5 fronters. That way, you've always got live transfers for people. So what happens is if we say we've got 20 agents, then that means we need 30 fronters. And then all of a sudden, if five agents don't show up and we've only got 10, then we've got 30 fronters calling for 10 people, and we're already paying them hourly, so we're going to have them call, and we're going to drop probably 100 calls, and we're going to lose all of them. So the program's only going to be as successful as you guys are committed to taking those calls. Now the 3 parameters that'll move there, we can move you up and down the list as far as who receives the calls, and the parameters for those will be sales, closing percentage, and then time in queue. So time on the system. And you guys want it to be that way, because if you've got somebody that's only they only spend 2 hours here, they spend an hour there, we're not going to fire them. But what's going to happen is they're going to move down the list of priority. So if we've got 5 people in queue and we get 4 calls in, that person who's maybe not in queue as much as the other person, the other 4 people are going to get the calls first, and then he's going to be next in line. So that's how that works. Any other questions?
And what are those normal hours typically people are putting in?
Yeah, that's a good question. Typically right around 9:30 Eastern time, and then our West Coast people are coming in, obviously right around 9 o'clock their time, so that's 12 o'clock Eastern time. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're staying later, because you're going to get a lot more calls. You're going to get a lot more sales later on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We've just figured that out. So sometimes our East Coast, they'll come in a little bit later on Tuesdays and Thursdays and stay later on those nights. And then our West Coast, they luck out because it's obviously earlier. So we're going to try to keep the phones open till about 7 o'clock your time, whether you're East, Central, or West. And if we've got go-getters that want to be on the phones from 9 in the morning East Coast until 9 o'clock West Coast, we're going to make that happen. So just let us know on your timesheet what hours you want to work, and we'll keep the phones open. If you want to work Saturday for a couple of hours, we can turn them on Saturday as well. So
What about Sunday?
no, we can't do Sunday.
Okay.
And we don't and we don't want it. I honestly don't even want people calling Saturdays. I've always been the type where, if we do it right Monday through Thursday and part-time Friday, that I've always lived by this, that I would rather you take half a day off Friday, full day Saturday, full day Sunday, and come back ready and raring to go Monday morning. Because our guys are excited this morning. They're super excited now that we've got 2 sales on the board. They're just super excited. That's how we want you. We don't want you grinding so much to where you come in Monday and you're exhausted and you're burned out. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. Now, if you're kind of in a tight situation with your finances, we get that. If you want to maybe work your first couple of weeks to get caught up with your finances and, pull a full day Friday and pull 4 or 5 hours Saturday, by all means, we get that. But I'm a different kind of a leader. Truly believe you need to be off those phones Friday by 2 or 3 o'clock and get out there and enjoy your families, enjoy your life, enjoy everything about what this job is going to do for you, and then come back Monday ready and raring to sail. Okay.
Yeah, so basically 9:30 to like 9 Eastern is like the 12-hour window.
Yeah, basically. But
Okay.
work with Zayshawn and Jawad.
Yeah.
These guys are awesome. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with Pakistanians or anybody from the Philippines. Our guys are from Pakistan, but it's kind of a different culture, man. These guys bend over backwards for us, and they're just super awesome. Just love them.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. You guys are going to get a report every evening so you can see how many calls you took, closing ratio, your average talk time, how many sales. I mean, they track everything. And these guys are super good. And they do that. They track what hours are the peak times to call, which hours we're selling the most, which lead they're tracking their leads, their data. So on their end, they can figure out what data they're buying is producing the most leads, what states, what area in the states are producing the most sales. So that's when we recruited you guys. We told you guys what makes us uniquely different is the fact that our the vice president of the company is now in charge of leads, and he's on 100% commission. We don't have any base salaries. So me and him are equal partners. I made him an equal partner, 50-50. So whatever profits that he brings in from those sales directly impact his income. And I did it that way because I've worked these leads. I know how it is to work those press one campaigns and you get your teeth kicked in all day long. This guy, being that his commissions are coming from his 50% of the company, he's constantly evaluating that data. And in the last 3 weeks, I can tell you, every single week our data's gotten better, and he's just kind of dialing it in to the point where it's like ridiculous. So now, when I say that, we can't control everything. I tell you all that when we hired you, because we're dealing with senior citizens. That's the tough part about this job, is you're dealing with senior citizens. So while our leads, I think, are very good, they're not perfect. They never can be. But really good things. And we are working on some other stuff: TV leads, mailers, leads that are coming in from online where people are seeing an ad that pops up and they're looking for insurance. So we're investigating all that stuff, and all those leads will eventually come into you guys. So let me go back over here. Is one group doing better than the other? No, they're all doing really good. All the agents are averaging about one sale a day right now. We've got a couple of agents who are doing better than others. We had one guy sell 3 in one day last week, and let's see, it was who was it? Vin Mines, and I'm gonna post, if you guys listen. Well, I've already posted. You guys can go listen to it. If you go over here to One University. If you go down here, this is, oops, I'm sorry. Go to the script. This call right here is brand new. This is Vin. So when we get done, I would go listen to this call here. This was his last sale. I'd listen to all of these if you haven't already. They're all sales. Well, no, this one's not a sale, but you'll learn some things not to do. And I believe this was a sale and this was a sale. But you're going to want to watch all those. All right. Any other? What was that last question? I'll answer that real quick. Does anyone know where the app questions are for Royal?
I just have a quick question. I don't know if it's stupid or not, but it just kind of process. You introduce yourself and you just kind of go over with the flow and everything. And I get that. Like if they have the checking and the savings, obviously you're just gonna go with the other companies. But if they say they only have the credit card or the express card, but then we just gonna go to the prosperity or the AIG or the Gerber. But you said we no longer do the Gerber. But my question is, let's say if we just put them to the hold, we just kind of give them the idea about the rates and stuff. Where exactly, with the companies, let's say, obviously you would have the product knowledge, right? To know whenever you're getting the answers of what medications to take and all that. The only thing that I am kind of like lost is once you put them on the hold, I know that the rate calculator that you give us is kind of give us to certain companies like the Foresters or the Royal Neighbors or like where actually you put the application. You actually go whatever the company you put in and then you go to that company and put in the app and answer all those questions, or that's
Yeah.
where I'm kind of a little lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll go over that here in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
get there. That's a good question. We're just not there. We're not there quite yet. So.
Okay. All right. It's coming, then I'm perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
very
Good
much.
question. How?
Scott, I have a question.
Hold on one second. There was another question on here. Somebody asked, how many calls are they getting on average? I'm thinking they're getting like 10 to 15 a day right now. I mean, these guys are swamped. We dropped, on average, how many calls is each getting a day? I mean, they're going nonstop all day long. So these guys are loving getting you guys on the phones. Now, when we add you guys, they may slow down a little bit, but they'll add more fronters. We are dropping 100 calls a day that we can't get to. So you guys aren't going to have to worry about leads. How do I put them on hold? Okay, so yeah, when you guys get set up with the dialer, it's going to be a completely different phone. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like. Hold on. It's going to be called iBeam. And that's what your phone's going to look like. Okay? So you'll get all this installed by Jawad and Zayshan. They're going to set it up for you. They're going to teach it to you. They're going to show you how to use it. So that's in your next training. Good question. All right, who else had the question?
Yes, this is Zoltan. Actually, I have a few questions, but number one is on the dialer here. I mean, when are we going to get trained on that, and or where can I go to see exactly how to set it up? But my biggest concern. Go ahead.
Yeah, Zayshan and Jawad are going to teach all of you this. They're going to set you up with that later this afternoon.
Okay. My main question for today was really about what you addressed in the beginning, was about how we're filtering them as early as possible with some good questions to see where they stand. Because, if we're getting all these 10, 15 calls coming in a day, we definitely don't want to be spending a lot of time with people that darn serious. So, that was my biggest questions. I don't know if there's a couple of other questions you can give us. I mean, I have a few myself, but that you can recommend that we use to filter them as early as possible once we get maybe just a few rapport questions in there that they feel comfortable with us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the script that we have it right now is perfect. I mean, it's working really good. You're gonna know when you get back here, and that's why we put it there. I mean, literally within 2 lines. This right here is gonna get everybody out that you don't want. I mean, they're gonna literally say, "No, I'm not looking for nothing right now." Great, click, hang up on them. No, I'm not interested in doing this. I don't even know why they transferred me. Get them off the phone. So that's what this is for. Okay, if they say they're looking for coverage for myself, I mean, right there they just told you they're looking for coverage. So get right into the script and go with it. You're not going to spend these. Now you got to remember that average talk time of 10 or 13 minutes. That's including our sales. So, you got to figure they're probably only spending 3 to 5 minutes on this whole script before they realize they're getting a no. It's happening really quick.
Okay.
The longer talk time's coming from once they make the sale, they're still on there another 15 or 20 minutes inking the application and calling the company and doing all that stuff.
Mhm.
So you're gonna know real quick, real quick.
Okay. Yeah, that was what I just wanted to clarify. When we get through as many,
Yeah.
we make as many sales as we can a day, so everybody makes money, and that's going to take, serious people, or at least people that we have a chance of building rapport with and building trust with.
But just understand though, you can't cherry pick because, Luke, the guy that just came in here and was excited he got a sale, Luke's been with me the longest, and it took him 2 weeks to get a sale. And mainly because he's being too nice. He being way too nice on the live transfers, and we worked with him a little bit. Now he sold 2 Friday. He's got one already, but he was getting desperate. He had a lay down, and that's that first call I want you guys to listen to. I already showed it to you. I said listen to this first one. You guys will hear Luke. It was a lay down. The guy said, "Look, I've got an 80-year-old dad. He lost his coverage, and I want to get about $10,000 on him." And Luke was doing everything he could to push the guy off the phone. And I'm Skyping him. I'm like, "Luke, what the hell are you doing? This is a lay down." He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is a lay down." I was furious. I mean, okay, there we go. All right, so let's get back here. Anybody got any other questions? Let's get back into the script.
Scott,
Yeah.
I got one question, man. You almost got to it, and then I got skipped over. On Royal Neighbors, I found the questions for everybody else, but where are the app questions? I mean, I've searched, and where's the underwriting guides and all that kind of stuff because I searched the website. Let me see where else.
For Royal?
You go. Yeah, for Royal Neighbors, you got the quick rate, you got the final expense agent guide, but really, it doesn't really.
Building your teams. All right, we ready? We ready to get going? All right, let's go. So this is I think this is probably the most important part of the script now. So once you get them back on the phone, okay, you've put them on pause, you've figured out their rates, you've gone over the benefits, and you say, well, who's my lady I've been using? I guess it doesn't matter. Now, Ms. Ann, I want to congratulate you. Despite the fact that you had the weight issue, the blood pressure, the diabetes, and the fact that you smoked for 15 years and were having some breathing issues, despite all that, I was able to get you qualified for one of our top tier plans. Okay? Notice I slowed down and I hit every one of them, but I still let her know. Even if she's guaranteed issue, it doesn't matter. I'm still telling them I got them our top tier plans. Okay? Do that one more time. Now, Ms. Ann, I want to congratulate you. Despite the fact that you've got that you're borderline with the weight, you've got the blood pressure, the diabetes, you're not taking insulin yet, but you've got a family history, the fact that you've been smoking for 15 years and you've developed that smoker's cough, I've actually found a company that's not going to hold all that against you, and they're going to give you their top tier plan. That's very important, okay? Now, Ms. Ann, I've got 3 plans that I've generated for you, and you can increase or decrease these, but we're going to start with these, okay? Now, option 1 is $7,000 of final expense coverage, and that'll double to $14,000 if you're ever in an accident, and it's only $45 per month. Now, option 2 is $10,000 of final expense coverage, and that'll double to $20,000 if you're ever in an accident, and that one's only $60 per month. Now, Ms. Carol, option 3 is $15,000 of final expense coverage. That'll double to $30,000 if you're ever in an accident, and that one's only $75 per month. Now, Miss Carol, if the good Lord were to call you home tonight, which one of these gifts of love do you want to leave to it's got your family in parentheses there, but if you're talking to them and you kind of know that it's their daughter, like she said, yeah, my daughter's name is Kirsten. Now, which one of these gifts of love do you want to leave to Kirsten? Okay. Now, notice I didn't go too fast, I didn't go too slow, and I didn't leave a bunch of pauses in here. If you do, you're going to give them way too much time to think it over, and you're going to start getting objections. Okay, now, I saw this all the first week. And then once they give that to you, well, I think I want to go with option 2. That's $7,000. As soon as they say that, don't let them say anything else. That's a great choice, Ms. Carol. Now, who would you like the beneficiary on the policy to be? And start inking the application. Okay? That's what this whole thing asking questions now, that's what we call inking the application. It doesn't mean you have to have an application in front of you, but you can write these answers down on your dry erase board or on a piece of paper, or you can type them in on a little note, on a little notepad. Okay? Like, let me show you here. You could do this. You could minimize this. Boom, right there. You could have the questions up. Who do you want your beneficiary to be? Kirsten? Great. And what is your middle initial, Ms. Carol? E? Now, I'm going to be putting your information in the system, so if you hear me typing, or if you hear me going slow, that's why, okay? You've got to tell them that. Now you're telling them that you're putting their information into the system. Okay? Now, Ms. Carol, what is the name of your primary doctor? Dr. Phillips? Okay. And is he right there in Galleon? Great. Now, I have your height as 5'4" and about 145 pounds. Is that correct? Yes. Now, I've got your birth date as June 18th, 1964. Is that correct? Yes. And that makes you how old? 53? Yes. Great. Now, the plan type that you chose was the $7,000. And we said that was $45. That's a great choice. Now I have your... Hold on here. I'm sorry. Now, what is your social? It goes right on your policy. 234541234. Great. Now the easiest way to set this up is with a checking or a savings account. Who do you actually do your banking with, Ms. Carol? Chase? That's a great bank. We do a lot of business with them. Now, if you'll hold on one second, I'm going to pull them up in our system and pull up their routing number. That way you can verify that we've got the right one. Now, just bear with me here. I'm pulling them up in the system. And of course, it's taken me forever, which hopefully it doesn't. At that time, if it's taking you a little bit longer, just say, well, I've got their routing number here. Can you just go ahead and read back what you have to me so I can verify that we have? There it is. And then if I find it, then I'm going to say, well, actually, I just found it. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your checkbook, that's called your routing number. And this is what I have. I have 044, then 4 zeros, 000037. Is that what you have, Miss Carol? Oh, great. And then we do have the right one in our system. Now, if you'll go ahead and read me the account number right next to it, that's called your account number. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you had their routing number. You could just copy that. Copy. Paste. I mean, that's if you wanted to use this pad here. Okay, the great thing about that is when you go back to do the application, you can just copy and paste it right back over to it. And you can save each one of these for your customer. So I would actually probably do that. Now that I've taught you guys how to do it, I might actually do it. So there we go there. So once you get their banking information, you're pretty much golden. Now notice here with the checking, with the social, I heard it a lot the first 2 weeks, and I got so frustrated I had to make that closing video. A couple people were like, "And Ms. Jones, what is your social security number? We're going to put that on your policy." It's like, there's reasons why we don't say things. There's reasons why we say them the way that we do. We just think this is real casual. Now, what is your social goes right on your policy. I mean, it couldn't be any more casual than that. Don't make a big deal about it. And then flow right into the checking account like you've done this a million times. Now, the easiest way to set this up is with the checking or savings account. So who do you do your banking with, Ms. Carol? Oh, Chase, that's a wonderful bank. We do a lot of business with them. Now, do you use the one that's actually located right there in Mansfield, Ohio? Yes, okay. Well, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull them up in our system. Our system is Google. Try to pull it up real quick. And now, while I'm pulling them up, Ms. Carol, if you can grab your checkbook, I'm going to have you verify the routing number. And that's the 9 digits on the bottom left-hand corner. And just keep going. I have 044, and so, well, hold on, I don't have my checkbook quite yet. Oh, okay, well, just let me know when you do. Okay, I've got it. Well, let's verify that routing number. It's 044-00037. Is that correct? Yep, that's what I have. Okay, Miss Carol, if you can look to the right of that, I just need the account number. Okay, it's 1, 2, 5, 7. I think that's 3. Okay, and then after they read it to you, guess what you're going to do? Okay, Ms. Jones or Ms. Carol, do me a favor and read that routing number back to me one more time. Make them read them both back to you. If you give it to them, they're going to agree with you. If you make them read it back to you, then you can verify that they're correct. Okay? You might as well do it now rather than input the wrong numbers, and you wait clear until the 3rd or the 5th of the month, and they run those, and they come back where they're not correct, and then by the time you get it fixed, the customer's already spent their money. So spend the time right now to get those account numbers, okay? Stay calm, keep your pace. Once you get it, you're golden, okay? Now, Ms. Carol, we're going to set this up to draft within the next 48 hours to ensure that your coverage starts immediately. So make sure that your funds will be available, okay? If they say okay, then great. You just got a sale no matter what. You just got paid instantly, whether it's Foresters, Royal, Americo, whomever. Now, if they say, well, I'm not going to have the funds until my next Social Security. I've already paid it all. No problem, Ms. Carol. Now, you said your Social Security hits on the 3rd, so we're going to go ahead and set this up for the 3rd of October, okay? Or September, whatever month comes after August. Okay, I'm just teasing. And then just agree with them. Okay. The finish. What you're going to do is here, you're going to complete the sale depending on which carrier that you went with, and you're going to explain that process to the customer. Be specific with them. Okay. So, Farrah, you were asking about the companies.
Yes.
First off, you got to go to, if you haven't watched them already, you got to go back to one university and watch each video for the companies, and it'll tell you how to complete their processes. But for the most part, most of them will just do it right over the phone. Okay, so let's see here. If we decide to go with Americo, you can do a tele-application, no application entry. So you're just going to dial that phone number right here with the customer, and you're going to do it right over the phone. Pretty easy. Okay? So you're going to tell the customer, look, we're going to do a 3-way call into the company. Let's just say it was Americo. We're going to call Americo, and I'm going to introduce you to them. That way they can meet you, and you can meet them. And I'm going to give them All of the information is that, as you can see here, it says agent controls the tele app. You're the one that's going to be answering and giving the underwriter all the questions. And then at the end, they're going to ask the customer, well, was everything correct that we went over? Yes. Okay. So as far as simplicity, America is real simple. You don't even have to input an application. So if you're worried about inputting an application and you're not, maybe for some reason this has got you a little bit worried, start with America. Just go right there. SBLI. Let's see here. You have to input an application via Aptical. Look at that. We got another landing page. That's awesome. So what Aptical is you have to get set up for it by the carrier, and they'll send you a username and an ID, and you log in there, and you just complete the application. It walks you through it. Once you're done with it, it gives you an ID or a number at the end, and then you give that number when you call in to Aptical. When you call them, you'll give them the number that you input for the application. So it's really simple. Okay? And that's going to be the same with Foresters as well. With Sentinel, all you got to do is do a phone app. No data entry whatsoever, so you just call in. With AIG, you have to go to their e-station. It's like doing the Aptical. That's for now. We're actually getting changed over to where we can do the voice signature with AIG. I think that's going to be done by the end of this week. So if you get some AIG and you don't want to do the e-app, just maybe hold it, and we can call them and do a phone interview with them towards the end of the week. I'll probably have this tomorrow or Wednesday. Foresters, let's see here. Yeah, you got to do an Aptical. And then once you do the Aptical, then you call in and you call into Aptical and give them the number that you got when you were done completing the application. Royal Neighbors is super easy. All you got to do is call for the interview. But somebody correct me if I'm not wrong. I think you have to call for meds. Maybe not. So with Royal Neighbors, you call in here to this number for the interviewer. And here, this is very important for you guys, okay? They're going to ask if you gave your customer the disclosures. And I forget which one it was. It's whatever disclosure it is. And they're going to ask the customer, now, do you have the disclosure in front of you, or were you able to read it? You have to tell your customer, look, if you want me to email that to you, I can. If you want me to take a picture of it with my phone, I can take a picture with my phone and just text it to you. I can read it to you if you want, but when we get on the interview, they're going to ask you if you have it in front of you, and I just need you to say yes. It's going to come with your policy, but it's going to save us a lot of time, okay? Just make sure your customer says that yes, they're in receipt of the disclosure. If it's an issue, then text it to them. Take a picture with your phone, text it to their phone. They've got it in front of them. Now they can say yes, they have it. Royal is the only one that makes you do that with that one stupid disclosure. Okay? So make sure you do that. Make sure you brief your customer ahead of time before you do the three-way call. Phoenix is our new company that we've added. It's mainly for our customers that are below 50, and they've got a nice term policy. So I'll be adding that later this week. So that's why we chose the carriers that we have. They're super easy, and I don't think you can make it any easier than that. So once you go to the company, you complete whatever process it is for the carrier. Let's say you go with Foresters. You complete the Aptical application, you call into Aptical, you give them the number, you walk the customer through the process, you get a approval at the end of the call, and when you're done, you have to go back to finish the cooldown. Okay, so that's why you still have to watch that first video, because now we want you to complete making a friend right here at the end. You've already got the sale, you're getting paid, so spend another 5 to 10 minutes asking them more questions that you weren't able to cover in making a friend. If you didn't talk about their hobbies, well, Ms. Carol, we were talking about your kids, and you said you were divorced, but we never really got to talk about any hobbies that you have. What are some fun things that you like to do? And really, really talk about their hobbies and get to know them a little bit. Okay, spend 5 to 10 minutes getting to know them, cool the sale down, enroll them in One Legacy if you've talked about it. Make sure you enter the sale on the dashboard, and that is our script. Now, before you jump in here asking questions, you report your sale right here, or you go to the green one here. These are all functional. So click there. Boom, it populates. All these fields are required now. We have to have the customer's phone number because that's what on the back side of the database. It helps us keep track of the lead. The leads are tracked by phone number, and it helps us merge everything. So that's why we need the phone number now. And we also want to know if it's guaranteed issue, why you went that way. We're going to do that just because we want to know. We're going to keep track of what conditions are causing our policies to go guaranteed issue. And then once we get a list of them, we can go find other companies that maybe will cover those conditions so that we don't go guaranteed issue with them. Because nobody really makes a whole lot of money off a guaranteed issue. That is it, folks. That's the breakdown. Let me go over some questions that you guys might have, and then I want to cover objections real quick, and then we're going to be done. What questions do we have so far?
Scott, this is Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have a question about contracting with AIG. I'm looking at Assurance Bay right now, and they're not listed. How do we contract with AIG?
So when you go there and you say request appointment, it's not there.
Yeah. Right. I have 7 carriers listed that I can pick from.
And
It's American General.
I was going to say it's American General. Do you see that on there?
I do. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Good call, whoever that was that helped us out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have another question. On one of the videos, on one of the videos, I saw a recommendation that it's a good idea to send a thank you note with a business card in it to your sale, to your client.
Yes.
What do you I think that's a good idea. What do you recommend we put on a business card? Do we have a company name or logo or a title, or what do we put besides our name?
That's a good question. I would use One United Global. That's what I have on mine, and I can send you our logo, and then just use your name, and then put if you have plans of being a manager, put district manager down. If you just want to be an agent, put senior agent. Put your email and phone number on there, and this
Good.
basic information. I'll send you out my card. I'll put a copy of my card on there and show it to you.
Great.
But yeah, that's a good question. That's if you can mute your phone now, we're getting some feedback. That's the next most important thing after the sale. And when I was selling every day, just to show you guys the difference here, my twin brother and I, somebody's got some really bad feedback. If you can, there you go, press mute. I don't think that's me. Sounds like somebody's got dial up on the background. Yeah, that's better. So my brother and I are twins. He obviously owns eClick. I run One United. I brought him into business and taught him everything he knows. So you guys are at the right place. We're killing him as far as sales. But before we started these companies and we were just selling for like senior life, when we would sell, I always had a stack of envelopes and letters that I pre-made them. I'd put a generic letter together and it just said, "Hey, congratulations," and I had room there where I could handwrite their name in there, and it said, "I'm your agent. Da da da, a little bit about myself, and if you ever need anything, or if you know anybody else that could use some life insurance, be sure to give me a call. It was a pleasure helping you." And then I put my number down. And I also had some literature with whatever carrier I put them with. At the time, it was Senior Life, so that's all we dealt with. But I would order some materials from the carriers, and you can get like those little trifolds. So then what I would do is I would stuff the welcome letter. That was, all I had to do was just put their name in it, because when I printed it, I had actually signed the first one, and I made 20 or 30 copies. So, I had already done the signature. Literally, all I did is write, if their name was Carol, I'd write Carol on the sheet, fold it into a trifold, put the trifold of the company on top, slide the business card into the trifold letter, and put it in the envelope. Obviously, my envelopes were already, I ran them through my printer with my name and address. And then all I had to do was handwrite their information on the envelope and stamp it. My persistency was probably 30% higher than my brother's. He was losing everything, and he ended up starting doing it too, where he would do the letter. Now the key is to get that out the same day. That way, they get a letter. If it's, you get that letter out today, and by chance they get it tomorrow or Wednesday, and they don't have to, they're not going to get that policy until maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. It's really going to stop them from asking themselves, "Man, was this fraud? Did I give my information to the wrong person?" It's going to stop them from calling their kids and getting their kids involved. "Hey, I just bought an insurance policy. I gave it to somebody over the phone, but they gave me their name and number, but I really don't even know who it was with." But if they get something in the mail, it solidifies it, and it makes them feel really good about it. So, yeah, make sure you're sending out that welcome packet yourselves. Now, on our end, when you complete that sale, it's also triggering a task for our call center in Pakistan, and they're going to be doing a welcome call as well 24 hours later. So tomorrow, if you made that call at 1:50 today, tomorrow at 1:50, they're going to call that customer back and say, "Hey, this is whoever. This is Zayshawn with One United, and you spoke with Mike, one of our agents, yesterday, and you got a policy with Foresters, and we just wanted you to welcome you to the family and appreciate you doing business with us, and just see if you had any questions." 9 times out of 10, it's going to be no. But it's just going to be to solidify that sale and welcome it to you. That's going to be automatically done for you guys. We also going to have a 1-800 number, so you may want to wait before you get your cards done. Ali's going to give us a number where if your agents ever have if they need anything, they can call that number, and it's going to go to their call center that's going to be staffed 24 hours. So if a customer has a question, if they want to cancel, if they want to speak to you to increase their policy, their agents are going to be trained to handle all of those. These guys are really good closers over there. Probably better than our agents as far as closing. They're really, really good. So if you get a cancellation, they're going to try to de-escalate that for you. And if they can't, then they'll send you an email or set an appointment with you, with the agent, with the customer, to follow up with you. But they're going to handle all those calls for you initially. So we're going to pass that number out probably today or tomorrow. So that's going to be done for you. And then,
so Scott, also when we're handling objections, one of the things we tell them is it's going to trigger a welcome packet. So do you send something out to them as well?
Well, no, the welcome packet comes from the agent, and then the welcome call comes from us. And then obviously, if the company sends out any type of welcome, that'll come from the company.
Good.
You guys got to do the welcome things yourselves. It's just too big of a project for us to do it right now. I could see us going to do that, maybe like phase 2, but right now we can't do it.
That's no problem. Just want to all be on the same page with it. That's all.
Any other questions?
Got Brian. Can you hear me? All right. This call center, you say is it based in
Yeah.
Pakistan? How's the English?
Pretty good. I mean, like Ali's son, the way they do it over there, and just so you guys know, like where they are in Pakistan, when I first talked to Ali, we were laughing. I was like, man, because he wants me to fly out there and
Yeah.
spend a month. I'm like, look, I said, I think you're probably trying to lure me in there so ISIS can capture me and cut my head off. He's like, you're so funny.
That's
He's like, you
crazy.
guys all think that we're just sand over here. He goes, but he goes, we're like your guys' Washington D.C. or New York. I mean, he goes, we're very, westernized, and they actually raise their kids to speak English, and if I think their language is Pakistani and whatever it is.
Yeah, it's called, if you don't mind, it's called
Oh,
Urdu.
there you
And
go. Hey,
yeah, so it's this is kind of like the accent look like. Maybe probably his is better than mine.
sir, yeah, hey,
So I know he was here visiting last year over here, and he has a very good British accent too. And I think he was talking to British, and we were just kind of playing. And somebody here, hey, where are you from, British? And we both laughed for a long time. So I mean, yeah, whenever we go to school, like really learn the English as our own language too. So I mean, it's just not something that kind of like people have misconception that probably, oh, how do you have this good English? Because just like I did my bachelor's in medical, all in English. So
wow, that's awesome. So that's Ms. Farrow. She's in North Carolina. She's going to be starting a call center down there for us. But yeah, she is Ali's sister, so very glad to have her aboard. Does that
Great.
answer your
Thank you.
question?
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And
all right, thank you.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And this when you say you're listening in to our
Yep.
calls, how does that work? I mean, like, so you're sitting there listening to our calls. You can't listen to everybody's calls every
Well,
time.
here
So I guess you're
I'll
just
show.
cherry picking.
Yeah, I'll show you. You'll see here. Hold on.
Are you nervous about it?
I never. I mean, I work phones. I worked the phones before in sales. I do sales over the phone now with health insurance. I just never had anybody listening to my calls. That's all.
Now you won't even know for the most part, and everybody's nervous anyway, so don't worry about it. And I'm just here to help, and I don't expect it to be perfect. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. We don't expect it to be perfect, so all we can,
When do you stop listening to people call?
well, probably once you're selling.
Yeah.
The whole key is for me to just figure out the little, because the mistakes you guys will make, they're so minor most of the time that you won't know and you won't pick up on them. And so this is what we see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So what we do is we refresh this every 4 seconds, and I can barge in, I can whisper. So I'll put it on whisper, and then we change this to HTML, submit it. So here's the agents that are logged in right now, and then here's the color code that tells you how long they've been paused or whatever. And so when one of these get on a call, so I look for the dark purple, which is a call
Mhm.
longer than 5 minutes. So once these turn purple, then I just click listen, and I
Mhm.
can
Well,
and
that's
I can
good.
hear the call. Now,
That's nice.
just so you guys know, if you guys are on hold waiting for a call, and you've got and let's say you got your headset on or whatever, I can hear everything you say, even though you're not on a call. So let's say you get off the call and you hang the phone up and you're waiting for your next one. You're like, man, this is some bullshit. Guess what? I can hear that. And or man, that call sucked. Well, I can hear that. Or man, Scott's such a loser. This system sucks. I'm just giving you fair warning. I can hear that.
Like
I tell it's a warning. Like you better be careful.
Well,
I'm listening to like I was listening to a video last night, and you were saying you can use this dial pad or you can use your own phone if things are tight. So if you're using your own phone, how is that possible when you hang up, you can still hear it?
well, when you're taking the calls, you'll be using this phone right here. You have
Right.
to use this phone to be on our system.
Okay, I got you. So we use that phone while we're in the system plugged into the computer like we are
Yeah.
now.
Now, what our guys are doing is they're doing their callbacks on their cell phones. So while they're waiting over here for the calls to come in, because there's some slow hours where it's slow. Well, we want you to do callbacks. So you'll have your cell phone next to you, and you can dial your callbacks. And then if you get on a call with a customer, then you can just pause. You can pause this phone so you don't take a call. But if you're dialing your cell phone and you get a call over here, just end the call on your cell phone, take the call here, and then once you're done with this call, you can go back to doing your outbounds. So that's how you get really efficient, and that's how you're going to get to doing, 2 and 3, 4 sales a day, is working 2 phones.
Does Jawad and Zishan, how you say his name? Zishan? Do they teach us all that, like you're saying, how to manipulate that, to do that?
No, they're going to teach you this phone, but it's kind of my call as far as the cell phone. I mean, it's just simple. You just put this on hold, and then, well, I mean, you're going to be active over here. Keep your phone active so you can take live transfers. But if it's been a while before you get a call, let, say, Sean or Jawad, if you go more than 15 minutes without a call, let Jawad know that, hey, it's been 15 minutes since my last call. That way he can check to make sure your phone's okay on his end. And while you're on hold, you can just simply have your cell phone and just do your callbacks. And then, if you get a call back and you're talking to him, then just pause this phone over here so that you don't have any inbound calls coming in. It's simple.
Yeah, it seems simple. Now
get with Vin, get with Vin or Luke or some of those guys on Skype. And when you get over to the main group, if you've got questions like that, just get with one of these guys over here and ask them, and they'll check.
Now, how do we mute this line now so you can't hear everything we're saying, even when we're not talking?
I have no idea. I don't know.
So you'll be
You're
hearing
pretty worried. He's just kept on asking. How do you?
So you will be, because like I'm on hold, right, waiting on a call, but I'm on another line talking. You'll be able to hear everything I'm saying on my other line.
Yeah, let me tell you a little secret. When we were with North Star, my friend Lauro Herrero, he owns obviously Herrero and Didios out there in California. Me and him were good friends, and we left Senior Life at the same time, and we went over to try out North Star. And the way they ran their program, after like 2 days, we're like, man, this is awful. So this is how we learned it. Me and him were on a call just like you guys are. We were on hold waiting for the transfer. Well, I was talking to him on my cell phone, on speakerphone, and we were totally bashing the system. We're like, man, this sucks. I mean, this is not what we expected. And then after the call, Ramez calls us both on and says, hey, just so you guys know, I heard your last conversation. I'm like, yeah, what's the big deal? He's like, no, your phone conversation. I was like, oof, that's not good. So
wow, that's deep. So the only way so when we disconnect from the system,
maybe press mute, or mute your headset. You've got a on these headsets, you've got mute, so just press the mute button on your headset.
Yeah, because I'm trying to be efficient as possible. While I'm waiting on calls, I may be doing 10 different things. On the other side, calling, like you said, calling people, fussing at my kids. Get out of here. I'm on the phone. You don't want to hear all that.
I'm not going to be sitting here. It's not my intent to fuss people while they're whispering. I don't care. I mean, I was an agent for 10 years, or for the most part 5 years. So I know how frustrating the job gets. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you talk about me as long as you're selling. I don't care. But Well, I'm going to get on those calls when the call turns purple. I'm not going to waste my time.
Right, listening to see what everybody's doing. Right in.
If you're on
Right.
whisper mode, I'm not going to log in there. I don't care.
Have you ever had to barge in on a call? And if so, when you did, how did you do that?
Like I said, I'll Skype the people first.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
let
okay,
you know.
good,
Say,
good,
hey,
good.
I'm going to barge in here. I'm going to take over. Now, obviously, I can't do that with a female, but a lot of the guys, our voices sound similar, and the customer
Yeah.
won't even know. So, but
So keep my Skype open while I'm
you
on the
got to have
phone.
you got to have your Skype
right.
open because even if I don't barge in on the call, if I'm listening, a
Yeah.
lot of times I'll just Skype you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's helpful.
Oh yeah, I can go down here to Jennifer and be like, you know, while she's on the call, hey, slow down. She looks at her Skype and, oh, okay, cool. So that's why you got to have your Skype up.
Got it.
What other questions do we have? All right, let's talk about closing real quick. You know, and I know you guys have all watched the videos, but sometimes it's okay to just talk about it. When I was with Senior Life, their director, first off, their training was horrible. We just got thrown to the wolves. I mean, it was awful. They had 2 or 3 scripts. Nobody knew which one to use. They had an overcoming script with like 8 pages of how to overcome objections, and they were so dumb. It was ridiculous. Like they had a newspaper close. Now, Ms. Jones, do you ever read the newspaper? Yeah. Do you ever read the obituaries? Yeah. How many of those people do you think actually planned on dying yesterday? It's like,
Good
are you
Lord.
kidding me? Come on, man. And then when you get him on the phone at towards the end when everybody wasn't selling, they made him get on the phone to try to sell. And we would do this. He'd be on the call. We'd be on the call. We're listening to him. He never made one sale. So it's like, why have 8 pages of closes that don't work? So I give you guys my close. I call this my go-to close, and I use it on every single call. And it works. I mean, it works a lot. And if you don't do it, if you don't close, you're not going to be able to overcome the basic objections. And you won't get sales. Because there's always going to be some kind of a basic objection somewhere, you know. How did you guys get my number? How do I know this is legit? Or you're going to get that once in a while, but oh shoot! Now I gotta add the script here. I deleted it from the other one. I know what we'll do. Pull it up this way. Hold on. Bear with me here. It's gonna be one pudding would be the 2 added is made. So this upper echelon is for. You guys can't hear that?
No.
Alrighty then. Again, I just can't afford. Okay. So some of the common objections that we get that I've really noticed in the last couple weeks is, well, would you mind giving me a call back tomorrow or Wednesday? I'd really like to talk this over with my daughter. You're going to get that one a lot. Could you give me a call next week? I want to look over my finances and just make sure I can afford this. I don't really want to make the decision right now. I'm the type I really like to think things over. Those are the ones you're going to get. Okay? If they can't afford it, they can't afford it. You can't. $30. You can't overcome that. Now, The only thing you could say, if they say, well, I just can't afford it right now, the only thing that you can overcome that with is you may want to write this down, but it's up to you, is talk about pain. Now, when I was with Lincoln Heritage, the president of the company, Jack London, I was number one that month, and he called me up on the phone. He's like, hey, I see you're having a really good month, and I was just calling to talk to you and say congratulations. I'm like, man, this guy's awesome. He's like, now, he's like, is there anything that we can do to improve our company? And I said, no. I gave him the typical BS, I'm going to kiss your butt response. I was like, no, sir, you guys have given us everything that we could possibly succeed. And, you guys are just amazing. He's like, well, Scott, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yes, sir. I'm number one in the company so far. And he knows this. So I'm expecting to get a huge pat on my back, right? He's like, can I ask you a question then? I said, yes, sir. He goes, why aren't you closing more deals then? And I was just like, sat back. I'm like, holy crap. I mean, I just wrote $20,000 this month. What's this idiot talking about? He goes, and I don't mean to insult you, but why aren't you writing more deals? He goes, you're taking 20 leads a week, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, and you're knocking on the doors to the left and the right. Yeah. He goes, why aren't you selling all of them? I said, I don't know. He goes, you're a good salesman, aren't you? He said, yeah. I said, yeah. He goes, well, then you should be writing more than $20,000 a month if you're taking leads. I said, yes, sir, you're right. He goes, so what can I do to help you write more business? I said, well, sir, I'll be perfectly honest with you. The number one objection I get is that people are broke and they can't afford it. He goes, well, then you need to learn how to overcome that objection. I said, yes, sir, you're right, I do. I said, I don't know how to overcome that objection. He said, Scott, what I want you to do is when anybody tells you that they can't afford a policy, he said, I want you to talk about pain. And I'm sitting on my couch watching ESPN. It's 12:30, like on a Friday afternoon. I'm getting ready to just drop my pack and relax because it was a long month. I hit my goal. I look up at heaven. I throw my arms up in the air like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm talking to the president of Lincoln Heritage, and this guy tells me that he wants me to talk about pain. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'm appeasing him. I'm like, well, sir, I said, I don't really know where you're going with this, but my ears are open. He says, Scott, when somebody says they can't afford it, ask them, now, Ms. Jones, I'm just coming from help here, but can I ask you a question? And they're going to say yes. And when they say yes, say, Ms. Jones, I know that times are tough right now, especially for you. And if they're tough for you, I imagine they're probably even tougher on your children. Wouldn't you agree? Yep. So, Ms. Jones, do you think it's going to be harder for your kids or for yourself to come up with that $35 now? Or is it going to be more painful for them to have to come up with $10,000 or $15,000 all at once when the dear Lord calls you home? You're right, Ms. Jones. It's going to be more painful when your children have to pay that funeral bill. So let's take a moment, Ms. Jones, and just slow down, okay? If the $45 policy is not comfortable for you, I always say that something's better than nothing, okay? So let me just ask you just a question. Is $30 comfortable to you, or is that outrageous? We don't want to take food off the table. Could you swing $30 and get used to that? Yes, great. Boom, I just locked her in at $30. Now, Ms. Jones, for $30, I can get you a policy. It's going to be $4,500 a month, and it's going to double to $9,000, but it's going to be same-day coverage, and that's going to be paid to your children, and that's going to take some of the pain off of them for having to pay for everything all at once. Now, once we get used to that payment, Miss Carol, we can always increase it later, okay? Now, who would you like your beneficiary to be on that policy? Boom. That's how you close that. That's the only way you can close I'm too broke right now. It's the only way you can close it. Now, notice my voice inflection. I went really quiet at times. I paused and I created a little bit of a link to that pane. That's the only way you can close it. Okay? After you've talked to after you've used the general objection, absolutely, I understand, I'm the same way. That's your go-to close every time. Absolutely. Absolutely, Miss Carol, I understand that you want to take some time to think this over. I'm the same way. However, when I bought my car insurance with Allstate, we did it right over the phone. And I kind of had a gut feeling that this was the right thing to do and the price was right. So for me, it was more important to go ahead and get the insurance while I was on the phone with them rather than not having anything. So that's what I went ahead and did. And that's typically what I do with my life insurance as well. Does that make sense? Now, who would you like your beneficiary to be on this policy? You don't pause real long there to let them come back with another objection. And that's where people miss it. Like our closers right now, they're getting really good at overcoming the objections. But last week they were overcoming the objection and then pausing and not saying nothing. Well, all that did was give the customer enough time to say, well, yeah, I understand, but I'd really like just a little bit more time to think about it. Okay? Overcome the objection, immediately go back to inking the application. So what that means is go back to anywhere on the application and start getting them to say yes. Now we have okay, so let's say you've already asked them who their beneficiary is. And they gave it to you. Well, Ms. Jones, you know what? I forgot to get, what state are you born in? Ohio, great. Now, you had said that your son was going to be your beneficiary. His name is Gary, correct? Yes. And his last name is Jackson? Yes. So see, you want to start getting them saying yes, okay? Because subliminally, that's telling them that, yes, I'm back on course. And then it's telling you that you're back on course. Now, your son's name is Gary Jackson, yes? And where does Gary live? Does he live there in Gallion with you? Or, he lives in Columbus? Yes. Okay, great. Now, you do want him to be the beneficiary on that policy, correct? Yes. Great. Okay, now you go back into inking the application. That's what we mean by that. Now, if you get to somebody and you're talking to their husband and wife and you've overcome the objection, yes, I normally talk to them, it doesn't work. There's something that I do once in a while if I'm feeling it, like if I'm in a really, really good closing mood that day, and I'll say, Miss Carol, can I ask you a question? And I'm just coming from help. I'm just trying to help you here. Or let's say they want to talk to their daughter. Miss Carol, may I ask you a question? And I'm just coming from help. What are they going to say? No. They're going to say, of course, yes. Well, Miss Carol, I've got a daughter too. She's 16 years old. And do you love your daughter, Miss Carol? Why, yes, I do. And I knew you did. And I love my daughter too. And I love my daughter enough to know that she's going to be very uncomfortable talking about me dying. And the last thing that she wants to do is talking about an insurance policy or me dying. So if I can make a recommendation, mine would be, let's go ahead and just go with the lowest one there, the $5,000 for $40. And that's going to do three things. It's going to lock in the rate. It's going to trigger a welcome packet that's going to be mailed out to you immediately with all my information. And three, it's going to have your policy in it to where you'll have it in front of you. And when you do sit down and talk to your daughter, Miss Carol, you can sit down and say, look, I want to take this burden off of you, and this is one of the last gifts of love that I'm ever going to be able to give you, and I don't want you to worry about me dying. I just want you to remember me the way that that you're going to remember me. So I went ahead and got this insurance policy. I want you to put this somewhere safe, and if anything happens to you, pull it out and know that everything's taken care of. Does that sound fair, Ms. Carol? Okay, that's how you can overcome that one. I just got goosebumps on that. That was good. But initially, guys, you have to have something where you can come back to over and over and over. So that's why we teach you that generic one at first. Absolutely, I totally understand. And then repeat it. I understand that you want to talk to your children. I understand that you want to talk to your husband. I understand that you want to take a couple of days to think about it. Somebody's got some really bad background noise. If you can mute your headphones, please. Thank you. And then tell them what you're going to do. So you agree absolutely. You reconfirm the objection, simply restate it, and then tell them what you're going to do. Tell them the way it's going to be done. And I'm going to say once you get really good at that, objections are going to come right off the tip of your mouth, and you're going to write a lot of applications. Okay? What other questions do we have on objections? The key is don't pause and give them time to object again. Go right to the application. Go ahead. Who has a call? Who has a question?
I haven't listened to the objection video, but I'm assuming that what you covered is in those videos, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, except for those last two where I went in a little bit deeper. Those are kind of like the Scott Gifford special where you had to be on this training call to get that. That's free too.
Yeah. I done empty half a box of tissues here messing with you on that one.
That was free. That's gonna be in my closing book that I write when I.
Yeah, man. I'd have wasted my clinics messing with you, man. I was saving those. But anyway,
what's your name again?
This is Brian.
Hey, Brian, can I ask you a question? And I'm just coming from hell. Do you love your family?
I do. I love them so much.
And I knew you did, Brian. And we both know the right thing to do is to get this taken care of today. Now, who would you like your beneficiary to be on that policy?
Scott Gifford.
Strong, isn't it?
It's strong, man. I want you to be the beneficiary.
Do you love
so
your
good.
family? What are they going to say?
Do you love your family? No way. They're going to say, yeah, every time. And then you get them saying yes.
We don't give everything out on the videos. That way, if we have a spy or somebody that decides for some stupid reason they're going to leave us at some point, we're not going to give out all of our secrets. Now, I am going to write a book. It's going to be called From Marine to Millionaire. And millionaire is going to be spelled MILLIONAIR with AIR capitalized. And in quotes, it's going to be say you have to want it more than the air you breathe.
Man, that gave me hair chills on that one. I can't wait to get the book.
Yeah.
I like that title. Great.
So I'm gonna give that about a year.
Wow.
I got too much to focus on right now, but man, we got a great thing going on here. And telesales, if you look on LinkedIn, I've been on LinkedIn for 5 years, and I've just seen the shift where everybody on there, not only is final expense becoming huge, but final expense telesales is blowing up. And I really feel like all these people out there doing field sales, once they get off the thing where it doesn't work, and because what are these field sales managers going to tell them, that it works so that they can go out there and join a company and do telesales? Well, they're going to lose their whole team. So the only thing that these people have right now is to scare them with scare tactics that it doesn't work. Well, you guys know already. Which one would you rather do? Drive hours and hours for an appointment to get stood up, get rained on, get in a car accident? I got in 2 car accidents when I was doing door to door. Go in these houses where there's no air conditioning, where they smell like unbelievable, cockroaches everywhere. I opened up my folder once, and the folder hitting the table made enough noise where all these baby cockroaches came out from the table. Was right against the wall. These cockroaches were hiding in like the paper or whatever. I swear probably about 200 cockroaches went right up the wall. Little baby cockroaches when I opened my book. I mean, who wants that? Or would you rather somebody's got some really bad background? So when you're out there and you actually show people, somebody needs to mute your phone, please. Whoever just came on, we can hear your background. Mute your phone, please. There you go. Thank you. So when you guys decide you want to build and people out there are seeing that it works, which it's worked. I mean, I've been doing telesales for 5 years now. I've always paid all my bills. So there's going to be a huge shift coming over, and you guys are going to be the ones that benefit from that. Now, let's see here. Questions. If the person wants to post-date the check, is this acceptable? Yes, you can go 30 days out with all of our carriers. One of them is 60, but I'm not sure, so just stick with 30. What other questions? Hey.
Scott, could you go back to the rate calculator for a moment and go through that example you went through at the beginning of this call?
Man, we're good. Alright, if you can mute your background noise once you come on and ask a question. I gotta find out where we're at here first. There we go. Okay, so just go to quick rates.
Yeah.
And see up here where it's red. If you're not getting this popping up here, over on the right side, there's going to be something that's in red. You just have to click that, and then it'll say, would you like to load unsafe scripts? And you say yes, and then this will populate. So let's use a different state. Let's use Missouri. Actually, let's use one that we're using right now. We use Texas. Booyah, Texas. We'll stick with 67. Female, 10,000 level, get quotes. Okay, so there's your options. Sentinel, $23. But see the difference between Sentinel and Foresters is only $3, so I'm going to go with Foresters every time. We don't use mutual.
Yep.
So now if they're typically the other ones, well, let's try this one. Let's see what pulls up with SIWL. So nothing. That's going to be mainly for people under 50. So let's say we get a 37-year-old. We'll see what populates for 10,000. Okay, so that means Sentinel will let you write in Texas for 10,000. So that's good. But you'll see Foresters isn't on there, right? That's because their policies are for under 50 are here under traditional SIW. So when you click submit, oh, I think you gotta be 40, at least 40.
I don't have, mine is not set up the same way yours is right there on that page where it says,
because mine's the administrator one.
Okay, all right. Because I'm getting the same things you're getting now, but I did not get the same things you got on at the beginning of the call when you plugged in Ohio and those other characteristics.
Oh, there it is. It's because they have, so Foresters, you have to have at least 25,000 in coverage to hold on. So Texas 74 female traditional. Oh, 25,000. There we go. So if they don't pop up, sometimes it's because they require to have a certain amount of coverage in order to get a policy in that state. So 25 is usually the limit. So I can get a 43-year-old female, non-smoker. Let's try smoking and see what happens. So it goes up a little bit. Royal and Foresters are going to be your main ones.
Scott, how long is Foresters taking for appointments to be accepted? Approximately.
Not very long. It's, we submit our contracts through One Life. That's the only thing we use them for is our contracting, because you can't contract direct to the carriers. They just don't allow that. So I think the holdup comes with One Life, not Foresters. Now the good thing with One Life is they were actually purchased by a really big medical insurance company, and they've already got the infrastructure. They got a lot bigger infrastructure for contracting. So here pretty soon, I know it doesn't help you guys, but here pretty soon the contracting is going to be really fast. But once Foresters get it, I think it takes like 2 or 3 days. Now, what you guys are seeing though is Foresters will give you that initial approval, and then they do the background check, and you can't do Aptical until the background check comes back, and that's why it's taken so long to get you set up on Aptical or the voice signature. And then what happens is once that all comes back, I have to submit another letter to Foresters. It's just a form with your writing number, and I have to say that you've completing the Aptical training, and then they sign you up. So the long part of that process is just the backside of it, getting you your background check and your Aptical approval. So that's what takes so long. But the best thing to do is just, if it takes you a little while, we've got an email here. You know what I'm going to show you guys too, and you guys can see what I do on my end. I have I use what we call canned responses for my emails. So I've got all these canned responses up here, and you guys can make them. I'll do it on another class, or if you want me to, I can show you here, I guess. But like, if anybody has issues with their contracts, instead of sending the same thing over and over, I just click on there, and then I just plug in the person's name. So I'll just do mine, and it automatically populates everything that I wanted to put in that email, and it's got a link to the carriers. So then when I send it, boom. Back up here, that link will be active, and there's a link to all the contractors, so that your agents, when you start recruiting, if they've got issues with contracting, they can call the company themselves and check on their applications. So that's just, these canned responses. Let me show you another one that I have. So you just go down here, canned response. These are all automated now, but before we had them automated, if somebody came on board, I could just click on welcome aboard, and it would say, hey, we received your onboarding feed, have a link to the next step with all that information on it, and send it. So I'll just do one more that I use. Canned responses. So there's our promotion level one, or how to become a millionaire. There's our link to how to become a millionaire. It's not active until you send it, so that's why you can't click on it. But you can create these canned responses for your emails once you start building a team. That way you don't have to sign, you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over. The key is if you want to start doing that, go over to your settings, click on settings, and go to labs. Think of a dog, the lab, and canned responses, yeah, right here. The first one. Do you want to have canned responses? It's automatically going to be set to disable. I don't know why. Click on enable, and then click at the bottom and save changes. Okay? That'll allow you to start making them. And then how you make them is you simply type in whatever the subject line is going to be. So, I love United. They rock. Do whatever you want to do. Okay, and then what you do is you go down here, go to canned responses, and then you save. Where is it? Oh, new canned response right there. and then it'll title it whatever the subject was, or you can change it. Click OK. Boom. Done. When you want to send it again, put in the name of your person you want to send it to. Click down in your text. Go to canned responses. And I love One United. Oh, you got to click in here. Canned responses. I love One United. There you go. So awesome. So that's a little bit of free information you guys get too. But that's it for the training. If you guys got any other questions, feel free